Hey, this is Seth, Keeping It Real. I hope you are doing really well as you learn how to create passive income by selling on Amazon. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. And I take everything I'm learning and I pass it on to other people to help them to succeed. I will tell you, more than half of it is a mindset. A lot of people approach this, well, I need to know how to do this, and I need to know how to do this, and how to do this. And there's nothing wrong with those questions. But I'm telling you, the people who are succeeding the most, because I coach a fairly large group of people, are the people whose mindset is how to succeed. Their mindset is in a place that is driven to reach their goals no matter what's going to get in their way. And so no matter where you're at in this place, I just want to encourage you, you can get there, but you have to have the right mindset. And the reason I'm talking today about customer returns is because I'm convinced 90% of it is mindset. Let me explain this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a comprehensive guide to customer returns when selling on Amazon. And the biggest thing here is, let's say you sell an item, let's say it's a little clock that you sell, and the customer wants to return it. And you can tell by their comments that they're just trying to get as much as they can from you for as little cost as possible. They're complaining about something you know is not legitimate. And it bothers you and you feel irritated, like, who is this customer? I get that feeling, and that's called ego. If I let my ego control me, I will win that battle, but I will end up, over time, losing the war for passive income. And that's exactly what I do not want to do. So this is why it's so important that when you're dealing with returns, you remember this. Your number one goal is not to save as much money as possible. Your number one goal is to satisfy your customer, even those who you're not sure if all four cylinders are firing correctly in their head. There's some crazy ones, there are some ones who are jerks, and there are ones who are wonderful. It doesn't matter what kind they are. You have to not take it personally and say, what am I going to do to build my business, to create passive income, so I have time to do the things I love with the people I love. Now, when a customer requests a return, they're going to get a drop-down menu. And that drop-down menu has numerous reasons for the return they can select. Bought by mistake, better price available, product damaged but shipping box okay, item arrived too late, missing parts or accessories, product and shipping box both damaged, wrong item was sent, item defective or doesn't work, received extra item I didn't buy, no refund needed, no longer needed, didn't approve purchase, and last but not least, inaccurate website description. When the customer receives this, gets to this page with this drop down, it doesn't matter which one they select. If your product is being shipped by Amazon, FBA, Amazon will always accept the return unless it's a kind of product that they're not supposed to accept, like live insects, I'm not kidding, wine products, personal beauty health products, sex toys, things like that are related to personal hygiene. Those kinds of things the customer rarely can return. And as a general rule, Amazon will not accept the return. And if those customers are upset with the product, Amazon might say, well, send us photos to prove it was damaged. And if they do verify that it was damaged, Amazon might reimburse them for the product, but let them keep it. They don't want it back. But outside of those exceptions, Amazon will almost always accept a return. And you should as well if you're doing Amazon fulfilled by merchant, in other words, fulfilled by you. The reason for this is your customer satisfaction is the number one most important thing when it comes to the health of your account. Listen, if your account becomes unhealthy, it's really hard to get ungated in areas you want to sell. It's really difficult for your products to rank. So you need your account healthy. And the number one most common reason an account on Amazon will become unhealthy is because the seller did not handle returns well and professionally. They took it personally or they were sloppy. This is why I recommend you always check your Seller Central account at least twice a day. Every morning, every night, or pay someone to do it for you. Why? Because that way you never have a 24-hour period where a question goes unanswered. If the customer's upset and there's smoke coming out of this thing, or the alarm's going off, or it's causing, the lights to go start flash or something crazy, they're not going to want to wait 24 hours for your response. Plus, if you respond more than 24 hours later, that also hurts your account. So just make sure by checking twice a day, you're always on top of your account. Now, how many days should my return policy be? Well, if you're selling on Amazon FBA, then it's always going to be 30 days, no matter what, with the exception of a few products like baby products where the window for return is 90 days. If you're selling FBM, you can actually go in and change it if you want. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So if you go under here, you're going to notice if you go to settings and then you go to return settings and click that, it's going to pull up this page. And this is where you can set up your return settings when you're shipping FBM fulfilled by you. If you select this, all this means is that every time a customer requests a return, you'll receive an email from Amazon. If you don't select it, then you'll still get that message, but it will be in your messages in Seller Central. You have the option to select your default automated return rules. It's really simple. In other words, if you want to manually authorize or reject each one, then select I want to authorize each request. If you want Amazon to automatically authorize all requests that meet Amazon's policy, do this one. This is the one I use and the one I recommend for the simple fact that my time is my most valuable asset. This saves me time. Third, you could select I want Amazon to automatically authorize all requests. And I never select this one because if they're doing something outside of Amazon's policy, I don't want to be accepting returns and subject my account to abuse that will not help me in any way. And usually when you get that kind of person, it doesn't matter what you do, you're still not going to get positive feedback or a good review. Now you have the optional override. What does this mean? Well, if you, let's say for example, see how this thing pops up here when I click it? If you want to change the return window policy based on each SKU, each item. Let's say, for example, you have toys, you can give them a 30-day return policy, but clocks and watches, you want to have a 10-day policy. You can do that. But in order to do that, you have to click on Download Template, and you have to download this template right here and fill it out. It's a spreadsheet. And once you've done that and saved it, you come back here, you choose File, and you upload it back again. The return window is really simple. And again, remember, this is FBM fulfilled by merchant. You can select 30 all the way up to 1 day for the window of return. On the return merchandise authorization, RMA, all this means it's just a code generated to identify that return. You can create your own code or you can have Amazon do it for you. I always have Amazon because again, I want to save time. Your return mailing label. If you're going to provide a prepaid mailing label for this request, in other words, you are going to pay for the return shipping, then select this option and you have a ton of shipping companies to pick from. I recommend this one. Why? Because customer satisfaction is the number one most important thing. I would rather treat them so well with the return that they either don't leave me negative feedback or give me positive feedback or a positive review if they do, than risk pissing off my customer. I'm telling you, saving $4 on shipping is not worth getting negative feedback. It will hurt you in so many more ways in the future. Don't do it. So you also can do this if you want. I would like Amazon to provide an unpaid mailing label. And some people do that. I prefer this one. Okay, for your return instructions, this email is automatically sent, or I should say this message is automatically sent to the person once you authorize the return. Now, it does give you an option to edit it before you send it out. So you can put your product name right here. You can put your store brand name right here and your address right here. But notice this message. I keep it really simple, really kind, and very, very professional. And that is because it is extremely important that I satisfy my customer and help them to feel really good about their purchase. Because I want to keep my account strong because I want to build passive income. Now, Amazon's return policy during the holidays changes quite a bit. And I'm referring to FBA when someone orders an item with a Prime account and it gets shipped to them within 2 days. Typically, you will have up to 90-day return policy on all items from November 1st all the way through November and December to the end of January because of the holidays. And that's a heavy sale season, but it's also a heavy return season. So keep that in mind. So it does change during the holidays. Now, what do you do if a customer returns a request for your fulfilled by Amazon item? The answer? Nothing. Amazon takes care of it for you. It's awesome. However, what do you do if a customer requests a return for your FBM item? In other words, you're fulfilling these orders, and so you're going to send it out. And the answer is very simple. Number one, be super kind. Don't get angry. Don't get upset, even if you feel like they're not being fair. Remember, you want to win the war, not the battle. If you lose the battle, it's okay. Just be really professional about it. Say, hey, no problem at all. Let me know what's going on. Here's what we're going to do to set this up for you. And Amazon requires you to at least send them one of three things, either a prepaid mailing label, an address for shipping it back, or allowing them to keep the product and you just give them a refund. And that's up to you. Now, when they ask me if they can return the item, there's typically three ways I'll respond based on that. If I sense, based on their comments, that the item was a dud, in other words, my product's really good, but this one item was malfunctioning, I'm not going to hassle with them sending it back to me. It's a waste of time. I'd rather spend that time finding a new product. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send them a new one. I'm going to ship it a new one. And man, that makes them really happy. And chances are you'll probably get really good feedback and even maybe a good review. If I, however, discover that the reason they're returning it is because they just simply don't like the product itself, there's nothing wrong with it, they just don't like it, then in that case, I'm not going to send them a new one. What's the point of that? Some sellers do that. That's crazy. You're just reinforcing the problem. In that case, I'll say, hey, ship it back to me. I'll pay for the shipping. After I verify it's in the condition it was sent, hint, hint, because I don't want to be taken advantage of. I want to be smart, but I'm not going to be unprofessional about it. Then I will reimburse you 100%. And the third scenario is any other scenario where they want to return the item. 99% of all cases, I just accept the return. It's not a big deal. I just accept it because, again, I want my account to stay healthy. Now, how do you issue a return? What do you do when it's time to do that? What I'm going to show you step by step how that works. So you're going to click on Orders, and then you're going to go to Manage Orders. And then from here, you're going to click on the order number. Now, if you already have the order number, you can actually click on Advanced Search, type in the number, hit Enter, and it'll pull it up for you. Once you get to that order, it's very simple. You're just going to click on Refund Order on the right side. You click on that. Notice you got two tabs at the top. You have Partial Refund and Full Refund. And from here, you're going to put in a reason. Customer return is usually what I just do. If you want to pay them for the shipping, if you didn't already pay for it, then here's where you would type it in under Return Shipping Concession. It's already going to refund them 100%. You can add a little note as a memo to the buyer if you like, and then you hit Submit Full Refund. If you want to do a partial refund, it's very similar, except in this case, you're just going to click on the first box and put in how much of the full cost they paid you're going to refund them for. And that's it. Now, here's a question that comes up a lot. Will Amazon refund me if the customer returns the item? Well, it always is going to be one of two ways. If the customer returns the item and Amazon determines it's in sellable condition, they will refund the customer, so your money goes back to the customer, but you don't get a refund because you have the item. However, if Amazon determines that the product was damaged, then they'll still reimburse the customer. They will not reimburse you, but they will put that item in the unfulfillable category. And I'm talking about FBA here. You'll have to do a removal order on that item to get it sent back to you. I have another video on this. And then once it's back to you, you can check it and see if it's damaged. A lot of times it will not be damaged because the customer simply didn't want the product. They knew if they said it was damaged, they wouldn't have to pay return shipping, which is Amazon's policy. And so all they had to do was just send it back. So in this case, take the products, send them back to Amazon. If you really want to, you can request Amazon to reimburse you for those, and you can send pictures to prove it was not damaged, and Amazon will do that sometimes. Again, I don't think it's worth the time. Set this up as a system so it's going like this, and as soon as you get your remove order, bam, send it back to Amazon, and you're on your way. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not worth it. So yes, Amazon does reimburse you if the customer returns the item and you don't get the item back. However, if you get the item back in its sellable condition, then there's no need for a refund. That reimbursement works the same way with FBM. So for example, if you are refunding your customer, you're going to get the item back anyways. So there's nothing Amazon needs to do. Now keep in mind, when Amazon sends you your reimbursement, here's how it works. When the customer returns the item, or let's just say, and Amazon will do this sometimes, they will just reimburse the customer, not require them to return it. And in that case, you definitely get a reimbursement, especially if it's like a health, beauty, product, hygiene type item. When that happens, it takes 45 days to get your reimbursement from the time that Amazon reimbursed the customer. Now, what happens if your customer requests a return on an item that Amazon does not allow to be returned? In some rare cases, Amazon will say, okay, send us pictures of the product to prove it was damaged, and then Amazon will reimburse the customer for that. But in most cases, that won't even happen. All right, I hope this has been helpful to you as you continue to do everything you can to help your customer. Remember, when you give value to other people, your money will grow. If you're focused on money only, you don't grow wealthy. because you're forgetting what matters and what doesn't matter. You're spending, I know some sellers who do this. They'll spend hours arguing with the customer over a return. It's $5. What if they spent that time finding another product, thinking about how to grow their company? You see what I mean? Really think what matters and what doesn't. That's a principle, internal principle that can help you create wealth. Hey, this is Seth, keeping it real. Keep it up. Don't give up. You can do this and you can make it happen. I'll see you later. Bye.